I have been starting to see this silly argument come up more and more, and it seems to be evolving too. It's something you'll hear from right-wingers, especially the pseudo-libertarian kind who like Ron Paul. The purpose of it is for the wingnut to convince himself and other people that he is not the big corporate whore that he actually is. It is also sometimes for a fiscal conservative to distance himself from a social conservative or a neocon, which is a fair aim. We shouldn't pretend they agree on everything. The first way I heard it was that there is no such thing as left-right politics, or, "Oh, you are so delusional and stupid, you believe in left-right politics." My first thought was, what the fuck? Is this guy trying to tell me that the entire political spectrum, from a collectivist system to an economic free-for-all, is a figment of my imagination? Now sure, I can agree left-right is only half the story, and the spectrum going from totalitarianism to anarchy is just as important. I can also accept that one might be a far-right deregulation guy, but more moderate on taxes. That's not what they meant, though. I only talked to a couple people who said this, and they were not able to explain what the hell they were talking about. At this point, I had no idea what their political orientation was or what they were trying to say. Then later on, I get a slightly more sophisticated version of this argument. This guy was talking about Obama being a neoliberal. So I was like, okay, he's slightly to the right, but hardly a neoliberal. In more US-oriented terms, neoliberalism is basically fiscal conservatism, like low taxes, less regulation, trickle-down or supply-side economics, and all that sort of thing. I discover this guy is a fan of Lee Doran, so he says people like Obama are neoliberal, and that neoliberals are not for free market and instead support corporatism and monopolies. That Lee, himself, and others that espouse trickle-down and deregulation are against neoliberalism and are not corporatist or shills for the rich. He denies that trickle-down or deregulation are part of the definition of neoliberalism, even though they clearly are. He then scoffs at how delusional I am for believing in, quote, the false dichotomy of left-right politics. So I'm thinking maybe he means the Democrat versus Republican false dichotomy. No, he says he means left-right. The first problem with this is left-right is a spectrum, so it can't be a dichotomy of any sort. You have an infinite number of choices between the two extremes. He seems to be trying to delude himself into thinking he's not a total corporate whore out there shilling for the wealthy. This seems to indicate that the right has finally gone so far that they can no longer just make lame excuses to justify what they do. In some cases, it is looking like they now have to convince themselves they are not doing what they are in fact doing, and then try to say the Democrats are the ones that do that. These convoluted mental gymnastics make no sense. It could only be the product of cognitive dissonance. Either that, or attempts at soothing a guilty conscience. Whatever the cause, it is certainly pure, unadulterated bullshit.